In this video, I'm going to guide you through how to use Corel Draw to create your LED sign for the LED sign project. Some of you have already used Corel Draw, so you'll have already done this. There's a couple features that I'd like to show you that might add some value to, depending on how complex your drawing is, or your sign is, or what you want to do with it. So we are looking at a dimension of using the acrylic plastic. It has to be a maximum of 5 inches tall and a maximum of 6 inches wide. 6 inches wide is the maximum width of the 3D bases you have printed or will be printing. So that's the maximum size. It also is what we need in order to get as much projects on the acrylic sheets we have. It also makes a good sign that doesn't tip over. So I'm going to guide you through how to get started. So the first part is to open up a file. And so under File, you would, at the top left-hand corner, you would select New. And then you need to name it. And with all naming, it's the project first. So this is LED sign dash your name dash and then class period. Okay. Also make sure that right here that RGB has been checked off. This will help when we have to choose which colors and what kind of things we need in order to communicate with the laser etcher itself. This doesn't matter as much, but that's a good 11 by 8 by 8.5 is the size of a sheet of paper. And that's not a bad thing to have. And then just click OK. Okay, so now we have this blank sheet. Our dimensions again are 5 by 6, and so over here on the side edge we've got all the tools we're going to use. A lot of them we won't use. This is the pointer. It's very helpful. You always want to go back to the pointer to do things that don't require, like if you've been using the text feature and you don't come back to this pointer, then what ends up happening, you just start typing more text. So always come back to this. This you might not see, but if you look at this kind of symbol, if you look at this teeny tiny triangle and you click on that with your mouse, it's the virtual segment delete tool. And this is very handy to do some things, and I will show you that. So you might want to go in here and it should show up like this on your screen if it's been this, because that's the standard view. But come down here and click and select the virtual segment delete. We also want to make sure that we have this selected, this 2-point line. You'll see it as this squiggle, but if you click on tiny little triangle and change it to a 2-point line, that will be handy. Making squares, making circles, making other shapes, polygon shapes. Here's your text information. This tool, again, it's usually you'll see it like this, but here we can use this to make sure we have things that are the right dimensions. So having that selected is good. And what else is here? Connector tool, not so much. You won't need to use anything on the far right, none of the colors. There's a couple things down here at the bottom that we will need to use. So and I will point those out. So let's make our sign outline first. So we're going to click on the rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle. It doesn't matter what size it is. Go back and click that arrow. Now I do need to make it a specific size. So let's come up here. Up here in the top left is where we can change the dimensions. So width dimension is 6 inches and height dimension is 5. And so we do that, hit enter, and now we have our 6 by 5 rectangle. We want to change this from being black to something called red hairline. So if you've clicked off of it, make sure you click back on. Okay. These little words that pop out when we're on the edge line, these are really important. Those will help us line that stuff up. I'll talk about that in a minute. Come down here all the way at the bottom with this little calligraphy pen and double click on that, and you get a window that opens. We want to change the color. So click on that and we get a new little window here. Click on these slide bars. It says RGB, which is right where we are, but the slide bars are what we want to grab a hold of and to get exactly what we want. Notice right now none of them are, they're all zeros, which makes it black. We're going to grab this little rectangle here and slide it all the way over until it reaches 255. That means it will be pure red, and that's good. That's what the laser etcher needs to know. Okay, we're going to click OK. And then we need to change the width. Now, right now it's set to 0.5 points. We want to change it by clicking on this little triangle to hairline. Red hairline tells the laser to cut through the material you're working with. So in other projects we've used wood. In this case now we're going to use this acrylic plastic. So it'll cut your sign out of the sheet of plastic that we're using, the acrylic plastic we're using, that we're also cutting other people's signs out. Okay, so we've got that. Now we want to put in a line that'll tell us exactly where that 0.75 mark is. So over here, this symbol right here is a 2-point line tool. We just click on that. We're going to bring our 2-point line tool over to this edge, and you notice it says edge. This is good. That means if I click on this, I'm exactly on that red hairline rectangle that I drew earlier. So I click and I drag it across, and I want to get to the other side where it says perpendicular and let go. This will make sure that that line is exactly straight and parallel with the bottom line. So that's good. Now, but we don't know if this is actually in the right place. Is this actually 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch above the bottom? Well, that's where this tool comes in handy. So this is a tool that allows us to do some measuring. So I'm going to come over here and click on this. Notice the term node. Node means where two lines are intersecting, and that's good because the red hairline and the black line we just drew are intersecting. So we click on that, we drag it down until we run into node again and let go, and then move your mouse out of the box and then click. Okay, come back here, grab the cursor. So this is telling us that the distance from that black line to the bottom red line is actually 1.12. So I can click on that black line and use my the arrow keys on my computer keyboard and just bring this down until it reads on that far left side 0.75. And now I know that I have this in the right spot. I can work with all of this material here, and I don't need to worry that it's going to be blocked by the base. Okay, you can leave that there or you can take it off. It does not matter. Just click on it and you can delete it. Okay, so far so good. Now we need to find an image. Now the image has to be black line, and it has to be on a white background. No gray. I'll show you in class what gray does on acrylic if you put gray on this, and it's not a good thing. So we want black line. So we're going to flip over to, come over here, and we're going to do a search. So I'm going to pick, I happen to like this phrase this year, so I'm going to type in black line, and then I'm going to type in what I want to find. I want to find images that say something about be kind. Okay, so when I do that, I got that. Click on images here. Let's see what's going on here. Ah, there we go. Now I got some images that are black line. If I hadn't typed in black line, let me just show you what happens. If I hadn't typed in black line and I type in be kind and I click in images, I get all these images and they're all colored, and there's not a single one of these that will laser etch onto our acrylic. Okay, so typing in black line or black and white is good. So I do that again, and now I have black and white. So I've got black in here, black line. I might be in trouble with some of the backgrounds on here. You see that this background right here, I like this, but it also is gray. So the way to figure out if it's going to work is to click on it. And then over here, I'm going to right click with my mouse and I'm going to copy image. And then I'm going to go back to my Corel Draw file and I'm just going to click paste. Oops. Right click, paste. Whoa, super big. So super big. You got to find the corner squares here. Okay, you got to find this corner square, because if I do this, it's going to squish it. But if I grab a corner square, it's going to keep the dimensions and save it the way it was originally designed to be saved. So let's see what that did. Okay, now I can already see that I have a problem. You see that this in the background is not white, so that's not going to work. So let's go back to my image, and maybe it would be better if I actually typed in black and white. Okay. Clip art black, be kind quotes. We just gonna have to kind of play with this a little bit and see what we can find. Be kind. Actually, I saw some that were actually bees. So I'm gonna click that. Ah, here we go. So I've got some be kinds. Be kinds. I like, oh, how's this one? Oh, let's try this. So again, I clicked on this. I'm going to right click on my mouse. I'm going to copy the image, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click anywhere and paste it. Okay. Ah, that's black and white. Cool. So now I grab a corner. I'm going to just size it the way I want it. I'm going to keep coming in here, size it the way I want it. Okay. Now I have it here, but I actually want it in the middle. So if I click the image, you see how this thing pops up center? I can click on that and drag it, and I can find center as well right here. But center here means center for the whole square, this whole red square. So I might need to just bump this up a little bit with using my arrow keys until it looks the way I want. Okay. Now I can add some more in here if I wanted, but I'm thinking, let's see, always be kind. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Bring it back, yeah, okay. Now, I'm not liking the corners, and if you're working in if you're in the STEM foundations, you know that we're working with how to do corners. But let me show you. So I can curve these corners off. I can cut these corners off by using a circle. I'm just going to draw a circle out here. Now, if you draw, let me show you a trick too. I'll delete this. If I click a circle and I hold my control key down and I draw a circle, it's going to actually make it a perfect circle, as you can see up here. 2.415 by 2.415, that's the definition of a circle. It's the same across any direction. Now I'm going to drag this on over, and I'm going to see if I like where it's going to line up here. See if I like that edge. Do I like that edge? So what I'm trying to do is I might need to use my arrow to tuck this over until, okay, zoom in really close. Because what we need, we also need this to be red hairline. So let's change this to red hairline. Come down here, double click, color, little toggly deals. I could slide that over. I also could type that in, click that X, and then make sure it's a hairline. Okay, now that it's a hairline, what I can do is I want to make sure that these are two touching, and that if they're not, so that I can use that cutting tool. Okay, and if they're not touching, like that's not touching, it won't work. So I'm gonna have to bump this up a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, we'll see if that works. Dun, dun, dun. Come over here, scroll down, grab these little gray boxes. Oh, see, that one's not touching either, so I have to move it over. All right, so now those are two touching. Okay, you can always change the circle size. Maybe you don't want it to cut that deep or whatever, but let's bring this back out. So now that I have this edge, I'm gonna I can make copies of this and do the same thing on this side. So I could click this and I can hit Control C followed by Control V, and I can use my right arrow key and slide that on over till it's in that other corner. And then I know that I have the same shape on each end as I'm going to round this out. Zoom in, make sure I'm touching it. There we go. Ooh, that did better than the other side. Okay. Now, here's where this really cool tool comes in. This, where'd it go? This virtual segment tool did. We can take the virtual segment tool and delete anything that we want on this that we don't want. So I want this curve here, but I don't want that line. So I click on one side of it and then I drag across and that deletes. And sometimes it will delete both sides, or I click on this side and that'll delete it. And then this will delete that, and now we can look in here. We can get really close. And maybe we want to delete that part. Oops. Control Z is our friend in this. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay, and then follow it up on the other side. This is why a mouse is so important. Come up with that other side, and we do the same thing. We can clean that up too. Okay, just click that tool and drag it off. There you go. So that's how to use the segment tool to make a curve and on your sign. Okay. And we can do the same thing on this side too, just to clean this up. So cut, cut, oops, must not be connected. Okay, cut. Take your time on this. You've got good time, and this is going to be something that we hope that you like forever. So I'm going to leave those for later. Okay, what else can we do? Well, I can also decide, instead of just making these curves, that I actually want to come in and make some of this, like I want to come in here and actually maybe make the B stand out a little bit better and make that my sign. Or I can come in here and let's find another image that might be fun. So let's see, what else can we type in here? A lot of you are really into the anime characters, and some of these anime characters have a lot of detail with them. And so I don't know much about anime, but if I were to click on this character here and do a right click, copy image, and then go back to Corel Draw, and instead of this one, I can put this character in. The reason I chose this character is this character has some interesting details about them right here, okay? And it looks like a speech bubble, but I'm just gonna, instead of going and just having this cut out around here, I actually want to take it and do something like, and maybe can I get around this area here? Or I can also get in here and maybe cut some of this other stuff out that doesn't make sense, but we'll leave that to you later. What you're going to do with this one is you're going to get really super close again, and you're going to use this tool, okay? This tool, this connect, nope, you're going to use this 2-point tool. So I'm going to click the edge here. I'm going to click the edge and drag on over here, and I want to start my cut about there. Then I'm going to get really close in, and then from here I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to cut there. Click and drag, and I'm going to cut right there. Click and drag and come this way. So I hope you see what I'm doing. I'm just outlining this character, and I'm making sure I have the node. The node is I'm clicking on the node that hooks up each one of these, and that'll be really important because what we're going to have to do is do a red hairline for this. So click and drag. Doesn't make sense till you start cutting into something. The smaller the click and drags are, then the smoother the line is. But at this point, the laser etcher is going to follow this. It's going to once we get this to red hairline, you'll see. Okay, so you can be as detailed as you want on it, but I've watched student work, and some characters do need a lot of detail, but other ones don't. Like this one will pretty much show up as a smooth curve. But I got myself into a box here, so I'm going to come back out here, and I'm going to give this a little detail here. See, I could leave that. And do some really intricate work in here. But I'm hoping you're getting the idea. But I got to finish this out or the next part won't work. So patience, patience. I'll be done here in just a few more minutes. Back out here and see where I cut this on the other side. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. Bring it out. Oh, yeah, I think I'll try to hit the other side of their hat. And then from this, I'm going to draw this out, and it's going to tell me if it's perpendicular or not if I want it that way. And there you go. Now I can use my cutting tool again. But let's first of all, let's make sure that this is red hairline. So select my pointer. I'm going to click on this. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here. You've seen me do this already, so you guys are now pros. RGB 255 and red hairline. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to use that same tool I used before. We're going to cut all this off. And so if I cut all this out, you can see that this is now, here's the sign would have this and this all cut out. This will end up being printed, but it will disappear once it's cut off. And there you have it. So now I have my person there that I wanted really highlighted right here in and then out. I also can take this line out. I don't need that anymore. Okay, now come up here, make sure you do a save. Okay, and just, oh, did I not save this one? I guess I didn't. Let me go back up. I didn't save this up. I did save this. No, I didn't. File, save as. And then in this case, you're going to go to the AMSS drive, period 1, inbox, and then save. Okay, and then that will get grouped up with all the other projects that will be printed out on the laser with the acrylic plastic. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope this is fun and that you enjoy the process of designing something special for yourself. Until then.